What if your body has been sending you urgent messages about your heart health for weeks, but you've been mistaking them for normal signs of aging? Right now, at this very moment, millions of seniors are experiencing subtle warning signals that their heart is struggling, yet they're brushing these signs aside as nothing more than getting older. The truth is, your heart doesn't wait until it's in crisis to ask for help. It speaks to you quietly, consistently, through changes so ordinary that most people never realize what they mean until it's too late. Understanding the language your heart uses to communicate distress can literally save your life. Doctors are trained to spot these patterns, these clusters of symptoms that many patients dismiss as insignificant. But what if you could recognize them yourself? What if you could catch a developing heart problem months before it becomes an emergency? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. And by the end of our time together, you'll know precisely what to watch for and why it matters so deeply. Heart failure is one of those medical terms that strikes fear into our hearts, and for good reason. But here's something crucial to understand right from the start. When doctors say heart failure, they don't mean your heart has stopped beating. They mean your heart isn't pumping blood as powerfully or as efficiently as your body needs. Imagine a fountain pump that's losing strength. Water still flows, but the pressure drops. The stream doesn't reach as high. Some areas don't get enough water, while other areas start pooling and overflowing. That's essentially what happens in your body when your heart begins to fail. Your heart is meant to be a tireless worker, contracting and releasing about 100,000 times every single day, pushing blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients to every cell in your body. When that pump starts weakening, your entire system feels the time side. Impact. Blood moves more slowly through your vessels. Fluid begins collecting in places it shouldn't. Organs receive less oxygen than they need to function properly. And your body, remarkably intelligent as it is, starts showing you physical evidence that something needs attention. The challenge we face as we age is distinguishing between normal changes and warning signs that demand action. Not every ache is arthritis. Not every moment of tiredness means you need more sleep. And not every physical change is simply part of growing older. Some changes are your body's way of waving a bright red flag, trying desperately to get your attention before a manageable problem becomes a medical crisis. Let's begin with the first sign, one that appears so innocently that most people barely give it a second thought. You've been moving around during your day, perhaps shopping for groceries, tending to your garden, or simply going about your usual routine. By evening, you glance down at your feet and notice something odd. Your ankles look swollen, puffy. When you press your finger against the skin, it leaves a small dent that slowly fills back in. Your shoes feel tight, uncomfortable in a way they didn't that morning. You might chalk it up to being on your feet too long or perhaps the heat outside. But this swelling, especially when it becomes a regular occurrence, is often one of the earliest physical manifestations of heart trouble. When your heart cannot pump blood efficiently through your body, that blood begins to back up in your veins. The pressure in those veins increases, and fluid starts seeping out of your blood vessels into the surrounding tissue. Gravity naturally pulls that fluid downward, which is why your feet, ankles and lower legs are typically the first places you'll see this accumulation. This isn't the temporary puffiness you might get after a long car ride or an unusually salty meal. This is persistent swelling that appears regularly, worsens as the day progresses, and may even begin to interfere with your mobility. What makes this symptom particularly significant is its predictability. If you're experiencing heart-related swelling, you'll notice patterns. It might be worse by dinner time than it was at breakfast. It might make putting on your regular shoes difficult. You might see the indentations from your socks remaining on your legs long after you've taken them off. Some people notice their pants or skirts fitting more tightly around their calves. Others find that pressing gently on their shin leaves a lasting impression, like pressing into soft dough. Many seniors assume this is arthritis, or perhaps they think it's related to circulation problems that everyone gets with age. While circulation changes can occur as we grow older, persistent swelling of this nature, especially when it affects both legs symmetrically, deserves medical evaluation. It's one of the first clues your doctor will look for when assessing whether your heart is pumping as effectively as it should. The second warning sign is even more deceptive because it shows up where we look every day but rarely question what we see. Picture yourself stepping onto your bathroom scale one morning and discovering you've gained 3 pounds since yesterday. The next day, you've gained another 2 pounds. Within a week, you've put on 5 or 6 pounds despite eating normally, perhaps even eating less than usual. You haven't changed your activity level. You haven't been indulging in extra snacks or larger portions. So where did this weight come from? This rapid weight gain is not fat accumulation. This is fluid retention. And it's one of the most reliable early indicators that your heart is struggling to maintain proper fluid balance in your body. When your heart pumps inefficiently, your kidneys receive less blood flow. They can't filter and eliminate excess fluid as effectively as they should. Meanwhile, that fluid is accumulating in your tissues, in your abdomen, around your organs. Every drop of retained water has weight, and that weight shows up on your scale before you might notice any other symptoms. What makes this sign so valuable for early detection is how measurable and objective it is. You can't misinterpret a number on a scale the way you might downplay fatigue or dismiss a little swelling. The scale doesn't lie. This is precisely why cardiologists often instruct their patients with heart conditions to weigh themselves at the same time every single day, typically first thing in the morning after using the bathroom and before eating breakfast. That daily weight becomes a vital sign, just like blood pressure or heart rate. A sudden increase of 2 to 3 pounds in one day, or 5 pounds within a week, is a clear signal that fluid is building up faster than your body can eliminate it. This isn't something to ignore or wait out. This is your body telling you that it needs help, that your heart needs support managing the fluid load. By catching this weight gain early, your doctor can adjust your medications, particularly diuretics that help your kidneys eliminate excess water. This simple intervention can prevent the fluid from continuing to accumulate, can stop symptoms from worsening, and can help you avoid hospitalizations. The third sign affects something so fundamental to life that when it becomes compromised, it can genuinely frighten people. Breathing is something we do automatically, unconsciously, thousands of times every day without giving it a thought. But imagine settling into bed after a long day, exhausted and ready for sleep. You lie down flat, pull up your covers, close your eyes, and within minutes you realize something is wrong. You can't catch your breath. Your chest feels heavy, congested. You feel like you're not getting enough air. Instinctively, you reach for another pillow, propping yourself up. That helps a little, but not enough. You add another pillow. Some nights you end up nearly sitting upright just to breathe comfortably. Some people eventually abandon their beds entirely and sleep in recliners because it's the only way they can rest. This difficulty breathing when lying flat has a medical name, orthopnea. But what matters more than the terminology is understanding what's happening inside your body. During the day, when you're upright, gravity helps keep fluid in your lower body, in your legs and feet. But when you lie down, that gravitational advantage disappears. The fluid that was pooling in your lower extremities begins to redistribute throughout your body. Some of that fluid moves toward your chest and starts seeping into your lungs, into the tiny air sacs where oxygen exchange happens. Suddenly, those delicate air sacs that should be filled with air are partially filled with fluid instead. Every breath becomes more labored because you're essentially trying to breathe through congestion. Your lungs feel heavy, waterlogged. Some people describe it as feeling like they're drowning. Others say it feels like someone is sitting on their chest. The sensation can range from mild discomfort to genuine panic, especially if it worsens suddenly. This symptom can progress gradually over weeks or months. You might start by needing just one extra pillow, then 2, then 3 or 4. You might not even realize how many pillows you've accumulated until someone points it out. Some people experience something even more frightening called paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. They fall asleep normally, sometimes propped up, sometimes not. But an hour or two later they wake suddenly, gasping for air, feeling terrified and confused. They have to sit up immediately, sometimes rush to an open window, desperate for air. This happens because fluid continues accumulating in their lungs while they sleep until their oxygen levels drop enough to trigger their body's alarm system. Any breathing difficulty, particularly when it's related to lying down or when it wakes you from sleep, is a serious symptom that requires immediate medical attention. This isn't something to monitor at home or to mention casually at your next scheduled appointment. This is your body telling you that your heart cannot manage the fluid in your system, and that fluid is now interfering with your ability to breathe. When breathing becomes compromised, every moment matters. The fourth warning sign is perhaps the most insidious because it disguises itself as something universal, something everyone experiences: fatigue, tiredness, exhaustion. We all have days when we feel worn out, when we need extra rest. But the fatigue that comes with heart failure is different in profound ways. This is not the pleasant tiredness you feel after a productive day or after physical exertion. This is not the kind of fatigue that a good night's sleep can fix. This is a bone-deep, soul-draining exhaustion that persists no matter how much you rest. Imagine waking up after 8 hours of sleep and feeling as if you hadn't slept at all. Imagine walking from your bedroom to your kitchen, a journey that should take 30 seconds, and needing to sit down halfway because you're winded and weak. Imagine looking at tasks you used to do without thinking, simple things like washing dishes or folding laundry, and feeling overwhelmed by how much energy they'll require. This is the reality of heart failure fatigue. What's happening in your body is that your weakened heart cannot pump enough oxygen-rich blood to your muscles and organs. Every cell in your body runs on oxygen. When oxygen delivery drops, everything slows down. Your muscles feel weak and heavy. Your thinking might become foggy or slower than usual. You lose stamina and endurance. Activities that once took you 10 minutes now take 30. Not because you're choosing to move slower, but because your body simply cannot sustain the energy output. This type of profound fatigue dramatically affects quality of life. People stop doing activities they enjoy because they don't have the energy. They decline social invitations. They give up hobbies and interests. Family members notice them spending more and more time sitting or lying down. They might seem withdrawn or depressed, but often the root cause is physical, not emotional. Their body is running on a power shortage, and every activity feels like climbing a mountain. What distinguishes heart failure fatigue from normal tiredness is its persistence and progression. Normal fatigue comes and goes. It has clear causes and responds to rest. You can usually push through it when necessary. But heart failure fatigue is relentless. It doesn't improve significantly with sleep. It interferes with your ability to function, and it often worsens over time as your heart's pumping capacity continues to decline. The fifth sign sounds like it should be obvious, yet it's one of the most commonly overlooked symptoms because we attribute coughs to so many other causes. You develop a cough that won't go away. It's been lingering for weeks, maybe even months. You've tried cough drops, over-the-counter medications, home remedies. Nothing helps. This cough might be dry and hacking, or it might be accompanied by wheezing, a whistle-like sound when you breathe. In some cases, you might cough up mucus that looks white and frothy, almost like foam or soap bubbles. In more serious situations, that mucus might have a pink tinge, indicating that fluid and small amounts of blood are being expelled from your lungs. This is what doctors call a cardiac cough, though most patients have never heard that term. It happens for the same reason as the breathing difficulties we discussed earlier. Fluid accumulating in your lungs irritates your airways and triggers your cough reflex. Your body is trying to clear that fluid out, trying to restore normal breathing. But because the underlying problem is your heart's inability to pump effectively, the cough persists no matter what remedies you try. The wheezing occurs because that excess fluid narrows your airways, making them smaller and causing that characteristic whistling sound as air tries to squeeze through. Many people try treating this cough on their own for weeks before mentioning it to their doctor. When they finally do bring it up, they might receive a diagnosis of bronchitis or asthma. They might be prescribed antibiotics that don't help because there's no infection to treat. They might use inhalers that provide minimal relief because the problem isn't primarily in their airways. Time passes, the cough remains, and the underlying heart condition continues to worsen. What makes this symptom particularly important to recognize is how it behaves. A cardiac cough typically worsens when you lie down, just like the breathing difficulties. It might be more pronounced at night. It doesn't respond to typical cough treatments, and it's often accompanied by other symptoms on this list, particularly the breathing problems, swelling, or fatigue. When you start looking at your symptoms as a complete picture rather than isolated inconveniences, patterns emerge that point clearly toward your heart. The sixth and final sign affects an area you might never connect to heart health: your appetite and your entire digestive system. Picture sitting down to eat a meal you normally enjoy. You take a few bites and suddenly feel uncomfortably full, as if you've eaten a large meal even though you've barely started. Your stomach feels bloated, heavy. You might experience waves of nausea that come and go throughout the day. Some people describe a persistent feeling of queasiness, a sense that their stomach is upset even though they haven't eaten anything that would typically cause problems. Your favorite foods lose their appeal. You start eating less and less, not by choice but because eating has become unpleasant. This loss of appetite and digestive discomfort happens because heart failure affects your entire circulatory system, including blood flow to your digestive organs. When your heart pumps less effectively, your stomach, intestines and liver receive less blood than they need to function properly. Food doesn't digest as efficiently. Your stomach empties more slowly. You feel full faster and stay feeling full longer. Additionally, when fluid backs up in your system, it doesn't only accumulate in your legs and lungs. It can also build up in your abdomen, around your digestive organs, creating pressure and a sensation of fullness even when you haven't eaten. Start tomorrow morning. Place a scale in your bathroom if you don't already have one. Weigh yourself right after you wake up, after you use the bathroom but before you eat or drink anything. Write that number down. Keep a simple notebook or use your phone. Just track the number each day. If you see a sudden jump of 2 or 3 pounds in a day or 5 pounds in a week, don't ignore it. Call your doctor's office. Tell them what you've noticed. They'll guide you on what to do next. Each evening, take a moment to look at your ankles and feet. Press gently on your shin bone with your finger. Does it leave a dent? Does the skin look puffy or feel tight? Notice patterns. Notice changes. Before bed, pay attention to your breathing. Are you comfortable lying flat? Or do you need extra pillows? Do you wake up at night struggling to breathe? These aren't details to dismiss or normalize. These are vital pieces of information about your heart's health. Throughout your day, be honest with yourself about your energy level. Everyone has tired days. But if fatigue is preventing you from doing normal activities, if it's persistent and worsening, if it's not improving with rest, that's significant. Notice any new cough or changes in existing breathing patterns. If you've had a cough for more than a few weeks, if it's not responding to treatment, if it's accompanied by wheezing or any colored mucus, mention it to your doctor and specifically ask if your heart could be involved. If you're experiencing any combination of these warning signs, please don't wait. Don't tell yourself you'll mention it at your next scheduled appointment in 3 months. Don't convince yourself it's probably nothing. Make an appointment with your doctor now. Bring your weight log if you've started one. Describe your symptoms clearly and specifically. Tell them when each symptom started and how it has changed over time. Mention if symptoms are worse at certain times of day or in certain positions. If you find it difficult to remember everything or to advocate for yourself, bring a family member or trusted friend to the appointment. Write down your questions beforehand so you don't forget them in the moment. Your heart has served you faithfully through every single moment of your life. Every joy, every challenge, every memory you hold dear happened because your heart kept beating. It has been your constant companion, your most reliable organ, working tirelessly without complaint for decades. Now, as you age, it may need some support. It may need some help. And it's trying to tell you that by sending these signals, these warning signs, your heart is speaking to you. It has been all along. Now you know its language. Now you can hear what it's trying to tell you. Listen to your body. Trust what it's showing you. Advocate for yourself. Seek help when you need it. And remember that recognizing these signs early isn't just about preventing heart failure. It's about preserving your independence, protecting your quality of life, and ensuring that you can continue being there for the people who love and depend on you. Your heart matters. Your health matters. You matter. Take action today.